1:43 p.m., January 13, 2026. Udeid Air Base, Qatar, southwest apron, hardened shelters, midday heat shimmer. Clear skies. Light wind. Visibility, 10 miles. The desert horizon is sharp and unforgiving. A single U.S. Air Force maintenance crew, 9 airmen, works exposed on the tarmac beside a KC-135, refuel hose extended, engines quiet. 2 Patriot launches sit 900 yards away. 1 THAAD battery is positioned farther south, 6.5 miles, covering the approach corridor. Then the warning tone hits. Not one alarm. All of them. At 1:43 p.m., the early warning feed flashes red. 38 ballistic missiles launched from western Iran, Kermanshah and Khuzestan provinces, stacked trajectories, mixed ranges, split terminal profiles. Estimated time to impact, 11 minutes. The base commander, Colonel Ethan Markham, looks up at the sky like it owes him answers. The radar tech doesn't hesitate. He says it out loud so everyone hears it. This wasn't a drill. And then the next line comes over the joint air defense net, clipped, cold, final. This is an invasion. They made 5 fatal mistakes. They assumed 38 missiles would saturate any defense. They assumed American command would hesitate, waiting for confirmation. They assumed the counterstrike would be political, days, not minutes. They assumed their launch sites were too dispersed to be hit fast. And they assumed they could fire, hide, and control the escalation ladder. What happened in the next 44 minutes changed everything. By 2:27 p.m., 16 Iranian facilities were gone. This is that story. If you want the truth to reach people before the narratives get written for them, hit like, right now. 4 months, Iran had been probing U.S. posture across the Gulf, drones buzzing shipping lanes, proxy rockets aimed at outposts in Iraq, electronic jamming along the Strait of Hormuz. Washington answered with warnings, sanctions, interceptions. Tehran answered with timing. Udeid Air Base matters because it's the nerve center, command and air logistics for the region. From here, ISR aircraft feed real-time pictures into CENTCOM. Tankers refuel fighters over Iraq and Syria. Cargo aircraft move special operations teams in and out without headlines. And every Iranian planner knows it. Distance from western Iran to Udeid, roughly 560 to 680 miles depending on launch point. Flight time for solid fuel medium-range missiles, about 10 to 12 minutes. Iran's calculus was brutal. If you punch the air base hard enough, you force the US to back off. You force negotiations. You force restraint. They weren't looking for a war. They were looking for a win on camera. And at 1:43 p.m., they thought they had it. 1:44 p.m. The Combined Air Operations Center inside Udeid goes full lockdown. Blast doors sealed. Aircraft on the ramp begin emergency dispersal. Colonel Markham transmits on the base net, all personnel, missile attack inbound. Seek hard cover. Damage control teams to stations. This is not an exercise. On the Gulf Air Defense Network, the call signs come alive. Qatar Patriot Battery, Spear 2, tracking. THAAD unit, Tower 6, launch authority requested. U.S. Navy Aegis destroyer 90 miles offshore, USS Halsey, Aegis Green, we have ballistic tracks, ready to engage. In Bahrain, 5th Fleet's watch floor receives the same data. In Kuwait, a second Patriot battery begins slewing to cover alternate flight paths. In Saudi airspace, AWACS relays the track file like it's a live autopsy. At 1:46 p.m., the first American defensive missiles launch. THAAD interceptors climb like white spears, leaving vertical trails that look unreal against the pale sky. Patriots follow, rapid, short, violent bursts from their canisters. The base goes quiet. Not calm. Quiet like a room waiting for a door to kick in. 1:49 p.m. Iran's missile package separates in mid-course, decoys, chaff bundles, maneuvering reentry vehicles designed to confuse terminal defenses. The first rehooks hit you fast. In the next 6 minutes, you'll find out if 38 missiles can be stopped. In the next 6 minutes, you'll see why Tehran's victory was already dead. 1:52 p.m. First intercept. A THAAD round meets a ballistic warhead at high altitude, an instantaneous flash, a hard white bloom, and then nothing but falling fragments. Second intercept. Third. Patriot batteries begin catching lower-flying threats in terminal phase. The sky above the base becomes a grid of calculated violets, interceptors climbing, warheads breaking, debris scattering. But saturation is saturation. At 1:54 p.m., one Iranian missile breaks through. It hits the far edge of the southwest apron, detonating 120 yards from a fuel bladder. The shockwave flips a maintenance cart and throws two airmen into a concrete barrier. Fire erupts. The fuel bladder shudders but does not ignite. At 1:55 p.m., a second missile impacts near a hardened shelter, direct hit on the outer wall. The shelter holds. The blast collapses the adjacent maintenance bay. 3 personnel inside are injured by debris. At 1:56 p.m., a third warhead detonates outside the perimeter fence, throwing sand and shrapnel across a service road. Then the defenses stabilize. At 1:57 p.m., the final inbound warhead is intercepted 3.8 miles out. Total impacts inside base perimeter, 2. Warheads destroyed in flight, 36. The numbers were staggering. And now Tehran made the mistake that sealed their fate. They celebrated early. 1:58 p.m. Iranian state media pushes an immediate claim, all Udeid destroyed. US command paralyzed. America forced to retreat. But inside the CAOC, the screens are still lit. The network is still up. The runway is intact. Aircraft are already moving. Colonel Markham looks at the live damage report and says one sentence into the secure line to CENTCOM. We're operational. We're still breathing. CNTCOM's response is instantaneous, professional, and cold. Copy. Execute response package. You are covered. Help is coming. But not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Comment accountability if you believe firing first should have consequences. 2 p.m. The response machine wakes up. And it wakes up in layers. At 2 p.m., 2 B-1B Lancers, callsigns Rampage 1 and Rampage 2, already airborne over the Arabian Peninsula under routine bomber task force cover, receive a new target set. Each carries 24 JASSMER cruise missiles. At 2:01 p.m., a flight of 4 F-15E Strike Eagles, callsigns Dagger 11 through Dagger 14, launch from Udeid Air Base, UAE. Loadout, GBU-53B Stormbreaker glide bombs and AGM-88 HARM. At 2:02 p.m., a pair of F-35As, callsigns Shade 21 and Shade 22, launch from a forward strip in northern Saudi Arabia. Their mission, kill Iranian air defense radars the moment they light up. At 2:03 p.m., an MQ-9 Reaper already on station near the Iraqi border, callsign Reaper 6, receives a weapons-free update and slews its sensor toward Iranian launch corridors. Hellfire's armed. Laser ready. At 2:04 p.m., 2 U.S. Navy destroyers in the Gulf, USS Halsey and USS Stetham, receive authority to fire Tomahawks if required. The kill chain isn't forming. It's already formed. This is where it turns. In the next 8 minutes, 16 Iranian facilities will be marked for deletion. Type yes if you want to watch them all go at once. 2:05 p.m. Target list confirmed. 16 facilities, not symbolic, functional. Kermanshah Missile Brigade Launch Compound. Desfal Missile Logistics Depot. Avaz Command and Control Relay. Bandar Abbas Coastal Missile Battery. Bushehr Drone Assembly Hangars. Shiraz IRGC Communications Node. Isfahan Radar Sector HQ. Com Electronic Warfare Site. Natanz IRGC Security. Annex. Jask Anti-Ship Missile Revetments. Khoramabad Fuel and Transporter Yard. Hamadan Air Defense Coordination Hub. Tabriz UAV Storage Facility. Bundi Mehaha Fastboat Staging Docks. Karaj Cyber Operations Building. Tehran IRGC Air Defense Command Wing, Sub-Level Access Points. Rules of engagement are explicit, military facilities only. No leadership decapitation. No civilian infrastructure targets. No ambiguity. At 2:06 p.m., Shade 21 and Shade 22 cross the border at high altitude, disciplined, almost invisible. They're not there to drop bombs. They're there to pull Iran's eyes out. 2:08 p.m. Iranian air defense radars begin to light up, S-300 batteries sweeping, search radars hunting for signatures. They think they have time. They think the US will announce a response, posture, telegraph. They don't see the F-35s. At 2 hours 8 minutes and 41 seconds, Shade 21 fires an AGM-88E AARGM. The missile rides the radar beam like a wire, slamming into the emitter outside Hamadan. The site goes dark. At 2 hours 9 minutes and 2 seconds, Shade 22 fires another. Isfahan Sector HQ radar disappears from the picture. 2 radars down in 21 seconds. Too late. At 2:10 p.m., the B-1Bs begin their release. 48 JSSMEIs fall away in staggered sequence, wings deploying, engines igniting, dropping to terrain-hugging altitude. Each missile carries coordinates and timing, synchronized for near-simultaneous impact. Time to target, 10 to 14 minutes depending on distance. And now the Strike Eagles come in. 2:11 p.m. Dagger 11 through Dagger 14 approach from the south, low, fast, using Gulf terrain and electronic cover. They release Stormbreakers, small, smart glide bombs that can hit moving and fixed targets in all weather. Targets: transporter erector launchers, fuel trucks, command vans. The first Stormbreaker hits Khorramabad's transporter yard, slicing through a TEL vehicle like it's made of aluminum. Secondary explosion. Fuel ignites. 2 more glide bombs strike the same grid, 3 launch vehicles destroyed in under 8 seconds. Rehook: so far, no escape routes. No dispersal. No second salvo. At 2:12 p.m., Reaper 6 sees movement, 3 IRGC trucks racing away from the Kermanshah launch compound. The Reaper operator doesn't speak much. Laser on. Hellfire launches. At 2 hours 12 minutes and 33 seconds, the lead truck explodes. The second flips into a ditch. The third stops dead, doors opening, personnel running. Then another Hellfire lands. No one gets out. An eternity in combat is sometimes 30 seconds. 2:13 p.m. Iran attempts to push a narrative again, radio broadcasts claiming the US base is burning, America is retreating. But their transmitters begin to fail one by one. At 2:14 p.m., the first JASSM impacts. Kermanshah launch compound, 3 cruise missiles strike within 1 second, command bunker, fuel storage, and reload shelter. The facility disappears behind a rising wall of dust and flame. Desful Logistics Depot, 2 impacts. Then a secondary detonation that turns the depot into a rolling firestorm. Avaz Relay, 1 impact. Communications drop across 3 provinces. In the next 6 minutes, the rest fall like dominoes. Share this with the people who still think escalation is slow. 2:16 p.m. Bandar Abbas Coastal Missile Battery, 4 JSSM impacts. The revetments rupture. Missiles cook off. Shockwaves ripple across the shoreline. Bushehr drone assembly hangars, 2 impacts. Roof collapses. Drones inside ignite, cascading explosions popping like chain fire. Shiraz communications node, 1 impact. Antennas fold. Backup generators go silent. Com electronic warfare site, 1 impact. The building crumples. The jamming stops. Natanz IRGC security annex, 2 impacts, outer perimeter towers and the annex itself. Not the nuclear site. The security wing. Surgical. JASC antiship revetments, 3 impacts. Concrete bunkers crack open. Rehook, that antiship threat against Gulf shipping? It just died. At 2:18 p.m., the U.S. Navy destroyers in the Gulf launched Tomahawks, 8 total, targeting Bandi Mehaha fastboat docks and Karaj cyber building. Precision, fast, clean. By 2:19 p.m., Iranian naval swarm capability is on fire at the pier. By 2:20 p.m., Karaj cyber building is gone, floors pancaked, servers pulverized, the lights dead. Reaction prompt hits here for a reason. Comment shocked if you didn't expect it to happen this fast. 2:21 p.m. Tehran's IRGC Air Defense Command wing attempts to relocate, vehicles leaving a sub-level access point, trying to move the command staff to a backup site. They don't know the F-35s are still overhead. Shade 22 drops a single guided bomb, low collateral, precision. It hits the access node. The exit disappears. The vehicles behind it have nowhere to go. The command element is trapped underground without comms. Rehook, so far, nobody escaped. 2:23 p.m. Hamadan Hub, already blinded, takes a JSSM impact to its command building. Tabriz UAV storage takes 2. Remaining drones burn in their racks. Iranian air defenses attempt scattered launches. Too many sites are dead. Too many radars are gone. They fire into empty sky. At 2:24 p.m., a final coordinated strike wave lands on remaining secondary nodes, fuel, transport, comms. The battlefield is now an accounting problem. At 2:25 p.m., CENTCOM sends a single line to Udeid. Response complete. Confirm your status. Colonel Markham replies. Runway green. Ops green. We're still here. 2:27 p.m. By 2:27 p.m., it was over. 16 Iranian facilities, missile launch sites, depots, command relays, drone hangars, coastal batteries, cyber infrastructure, gone or mission killed beyond immediate repair. Iran fired 38 missiles expecting paralysis. Instead, it triggered a deletion. This wasn't a drill. This was a lesson. Scoreboard, confirmed by satellite and signals intercepts within the next hour. Iranian missiles launched, 38. Missiles intercepted, 36. Missiles impacting inside Udeid perimeter, 2. U.S. personnel KIA, 3. U.S. personnel WIA, 21. Aircraft destroyed on the ground, 0. Facilities in Iran struck, 16. Jassamiyah fired, 48. Tomahawks fired, 8. Stormbreakers released, 24. AIGMs fired, 2. Estimated Iranian military KIA, 410. Estimated Iranian military WIA, 780. Iranian state media reaction, denial, then silence, then partial admission without numbers. Satellite-proof vibe, crater patterns, burned scars, destroyed revetments visible within hours. Allies reassess. Adversaries go quiet. Proxies pause. Because they saw what happens when a base takes fire and remains operational. The deeper meaning is not just retaliation. It's timing. Tehran believed it could control the pace. Fire at 1:43. Force panic. Then negotiate under a cloud of fear. Instead, the US response arrived within 1 operational hour, pre-positioned bombers, stealth suppression, lead munitions, synchronized time-on-target impacts. It proved deterrence isn't a speech. Deterrence is a clock. And Iran just learned what side of that clock it lives on. But the warning remains, the margin between a contained exchange and regional war is thin. 1 missile landing on a dormitory. 1 strike misread as decapitation. 1 proxy acting without orders. The Gulf can ignite in a day. This time, it didn't. Because the response was controlled. And overwhelming. Final recap timeline. 1:43 p.m., Iran fires 38 missiles at Udeid Air Base. 1:46 p.m., THAAD and Patriot intercepts begin. 1:54 p.m., first impact on base perimeter. 1:57 p.m., final warhead intercepted. Base remains operational. 2 p.m., counter-strike package activates. 2:08 p.m., F-35s blind Iranian radars. 2:10 p.m., B-1BS released JSSMER cruise missiles. 2:11 p.m., Strike Eagles begin Stormbreaker kills on launch support. 2:14 p.m., first Iranian facility destroyed. 2:18 p.m., Tomahawks launch from Gulf destroyers. 2:27 p.m., 16 Iranian facilities gone. Response complete. 44 minutes. That's all it took. Hit like. Comment this question: what should Iran do next, escalate, or step back? Subscribe, because the next operation won't be announced, and you'll want the breakdown when it hits. 1:43 p.m., they fired to break an airbase. 2:27 p.m., they learned what breaks instead.